back to another conversation with three geeks. Tonight it's Destiny and Justin. We're joined by Michelan. Hi, it's so incredible to meet you.
Hi, Destiny. Hi, Justin. It's great to meet you too.
Let me hop right into it because I have got some incredible questions for you. I think you've got to work in the incredible world of the Ninja Turtles, dinosaurs, Muppets. In these worlds, your performance kind of is more through suits and puppets and movement. What's the biggest difference adjusting to working in that world versus like on camera work?
Well, it's it's actually very much the same. You're using the same toolkit. You're just putting your performance into an extension of yourself. I was a New York actor. I was an actor for 20 years there. Had realized my dream, Broadway shows and all that stuff. So that when this opportunity came up, totally unexpected, of course, it was like, oh, okay, here's a whole new set of challenges. So let's go do that. And what I found is that every character that I've done, whether it's been suit performing, each character has its own set of parameters that you have to deal with, especially if it's a suit or if it's a puppet. But the basic acting skills that you apply as a performer, a human performer, are the same that you apply to your suit or your puppet. You just have to find how, because they always limit you more than just yourself as a tool, as an actor. So you have to find the workarounds to make your performance come out.
Yeah, that was a kind of follow-up question is like when your face isn't your primary source of communicating the storytelling, you kind of have to rely more on your body and your movements. Does that make it more difficult, or does it make it fun? What are the challenges that come along with that?
Well, like I say, it was the challenges that interested me the most, and that's why I stayed here. I mean, I had always intended initially to go back to New York. I was happy as a clam being an actor in New York, and that's how I was going to end up my days. But they kept throwing things at me that were new and exciting, and I had never done before, of course. So I said, okay, I can do this. And 35 years later, I'm still doing it.
By actor in New York, I believe you're talking about Broadway for the uninitiated like myself. But because I saw you did like Cabaret and Raggedy Ann and Fiddler on the Roof. Do you have a play you have a favorite of, or one you just like, man, this is why I got into theater?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I went to New York, was because that was my dream. Fiddler was a favorite because that was my Broadway debut as Mottle the Tailor. So that has a very warm spot in my heart, of course. The whole thing with the Cabaret experience was totally unique. I had done, in fact, one of the pictures here, that one there is the first time that I did the MC. I had done the MC twice before, and then I was asked to join the company that Joel Grey was having the revival. And they asked me to be his understudy, but I also had a role in the show. So I took all of the experiences that I'd had having done the show twice before, threw that out because I had a different brief. My brief was as his understudy to copy his performance as closely as possible. That was my job in that regard. So I could go off and have fun with the character I was doing in the show when I wasn't on for him. But when it came time for me to do the MC and support him in a rather unique way, as it turned out, my brief was as close to his performance as possible. So that was another challenge. There was a period just before we went into Broadway. We did two cities. We did Hartford, Connecticut, and Philadelphia. And in Hartford, he developed some nodes on his chords, and he had to rest his voice. So it was his idea that I would sing and speak for him off stage, and he would be on stage miming the performance while I sang and spoke. And so we did that for over a month. Actually, it was like something like 37, 38 performances altogether, something that had been very unique in the theater. Again, his idea, but he was really a wonderful, he's a friend, but he was a wonderful about this whole situation. He insisted that I come at the end of each performance and join him on stage for a mutual curtain call, and then I would step back, of course, and give him the stage. So it made it even though I was going home with migraines every night because I was concentrating so hard, it made it a wonderful, extreme journey with him. Had a wonderful time.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that whole deal, and the other three shows were shows that I joined the companies that were already playing on Broadway. Peter Pan, Robert Bridegroom, and Raggedy Ann. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite role from your time on Broadway?
Well, again, Mottle was my favorite because my debut. The MC is a favorite because it was so close to my heart, and I had so many wonderful experiences with it. They were all unique and wonderful, but I would say those were my two favorites. Mottle because it was my debut, and the MC because it's just so special.
The MC is such a fun role. Cabaret is such a fun show.
It is. You can get away with a lot.
I believe that very much. Now, did I read right that you went from Broadway right into TMNT, the Ninja Turtles, and how did you kind of mosey your way into that role, into Michelangelo, which is incredible?
It was just my agent at the time called me up and said, "Do you know anything about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?" And of course, we laughed. We didn't know anything about it. And he said, "Well, go. It's another audition like you usually do." I had done some little in Raggedy Ann especially, and even in Cabaret because I was in the gorilla suit for the number with Joel, If You Could See Her Through My Eyes. So I'd done some little suit pieces, and that's what got me the audition for Turtles. I read for the casting director, Lynn Kressel, and then she had me read for Steve Barron, the director. I didn't know at the time he was the director, but he was down the hall from her. And he gave me another side. You know what a side is? A side is a short piece of a scene that you're given. You're not given the full script, but you're given a short piece of the scene. So he gave me another side, another Raphael side was what we were using. He said, "Come back tomorrow with your version of ninja choreography, fight choreography to this scene." So I went home and I rehearsed all night in my little tiny apartment. And I went in the next day, and he was in an office that was either even smaller than the one he had been in the day before, and actually smaller than my tiny apartment. So I did the audition and ended up with what I thought of at the time as a roundhouse kick and put my foot through the wall. And I thought, oh, well, okay, forget this one. But he laughed, and I'm paraphrasing here because I was so buzzed at the moment that I don't remember the exact words, but basically he said, "Anyone who would do that deserves to be one of my turtles." And that's how I became Michelangelo.
That is incredible. That is such a fun story. You just bust open a wall. That's how you become a turtle.
Yep. Just make a fool of yourself, and you can do it too.
Hey, that's
or
the best.
You just had a really solid roundhouse kick. That's where I'm going to go with. You have a really solid kick.
Thank you. I prefer your interpretation.
Yeah. Did the role require a lot of like martial arts training? I guess because I just thought about it. Like the fight choreography, did you do a martial art? Was there a specific like, hey, there's a lot of movements in terms of fighting? Was there a lot involved with that, or weapons?
Yeah, there was. I had done stage fighting prior to that, but not martial arts per se. Once we were cast, three of us, of course, were in New York. Josh Peiss, Leif Tilden, and myself. All three of us were in New York. Dave Foreman, who was Leonardo, he was in England, of course, still. But they gave us 3 to 4 months of intensive training with a sensei in New York. We would go twice a week. One day would be all three of us together with him, working on general martial arts fighting techniques. And then we would go individually one day a week to work on our weapons, mine being the nunchucks, of course. Then we tried to maintain some sort of routine on the side, although there wasn't much time once we started shooting. But during the shooting itself, and then between the first and second show, when they had asked Leif and I to come back for the second movie, we had another period in New York with our sensei to continue our training there.
So
and
you
then
have
the fight choreography, of course.
Behind you. Can you show them to us?
Yeah, what I have here, these are my hero chucks. These were the chucks that I used in the film, particularly the first film. You didn't get to see them much in the second film at all. They were in a holster on my side. But that's my hero chucks. I kept those. I had other chucks as well that were given to me, but I've given them to friends or charity auctions over the years, but I had to keep those.
Absolutely, you have to keep a memento. It's necessary.
Yeah.
Do you still bust out some moves
Oh,
with them? No, sorry.
No, because it hurts too much when I hit myself. That was another thing.
Yeah.
When after I'd gotten cast, within a couple of weeks, I received a box, and it was a pair of wooden nunchucks, and said, "Here's your rehearsal chucks." I thought, "Oh, okay." So I was beating the heck out of myself with those for a couple of weeks, and then another box showed up and said, "No, these are your rehearsal chucks," and they were made of foam rubber, which was much better.
Much better for rehearsals.
Yeah.
After
In the
you have
meantime, I had bruises all over.
Then you get the foam
Yeah.
nunchuck.
Exactly.
They had a plan with that. I'm sure they had a plan.
So
Yeah, I think they were testing me.
go into Muppets, so Jim Henson, he famously believed that puppets were actors and not props. Did working in puppeteering confirm that philosophy for you?
Absolutely. Everything is character driven with the Muppets. That's what makes them so special, I think. The people who perform them are talented actors and performers in their own right, but each of the characters has to have a backstory and an ongoing life. That's what makes them vibrant as far as I can see.
How did you get into puppeteering? Sorry, Justin.
No, you're asking the exact question I was about to ask. Good.
When we were doing dinosaurs, that was another thing. Jim had approached me about dinosaurs during the first show, and then when we lost him, I thought forget that idea. But Brian, his son, and Martin Baker came to me while we were shooting the second show, the second Turtle movie, and said, "We're going to go ahead with this TV show." That was dinosaurs. So when they got me out from New York to LA to do that, when I wasn't on camera in a suit, I had the Charlene suit, of course, that I performed, and Sid Turtlepuss, the little brown dinosaur who did a lot of different characters. There would be scenes with puppets, and oftentimes they would say, here's a puppet, go and get into the scene. So I basically learned on the job from the best people in the world doing it, and That's how I became a puppeteer.
Well, that's incredible. Dinosaurs was such an incredible show. One of my absolute favorites.
Thank you.
What was that whole experience like? I mean, that's such an emotional show to have been a kids series even, but like to be made the way it was and touch on the topics they did. I mean, what was that experience like for you?
I'm very proud of that show. We all are. I mean, it was tough work. It was hard on your body and other things, but we did so many interesting topics, like you say, and current topics that we're all very, very proud of that. It was a wonderful 4 years with that.
I think
a heavy show.
Yes, I think that show has one of probably the most emotional endings of any series ever.
Yeah, it's a bit controversial, I know.
It is, but I mean, it made people think. It made people talk, and I think that's an incredible thing to have happen
Throughout your career. Yeah, throughout your career, like in a suit. Have you ever been like claustrophobic? Is there any been they're like too like? I always picture those turtle suits, and they're sweet, they're super cool. But boy, would I be uncomfortable like just existing in one. I think it just.
It is. It's a tough place to be. You have to have a particular mindset. But yeah, every one of us experienced moments of extreme discomfort. I mean, not only was it hot and painful to do the work itself, there were moments where mentally you just said, "Oh, I need to be someplace else than here," and you just had to find ways to deal with it. Some people couldn't deal with it. In fact, we had one of the Chinese martial artists who were the heroes for the most dangerous stuff, shall we say, of the martial arts choreography. He didn't know he was claustrophobic until one day he reached his limit, tried to pull the head off because they didn't get to him fast enough, ended up ripping the skin off of the skull, and he decided this was no longer something he wanted to do, so he left us after that. But yeah, I've seen that happen with a handful of people over the years that didn't know they were claustrophobic until they got inside of a suit.
No, I just a secondary thought to the suit. Do you all have a lot of control over the emotions of like the mouth, like when it smiles, when it like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like at any point, like if you're in the suit, do you control like the facial features and like, oh, he's in a wink or he's in a smile or he's in a frown? Any type of control over that part of it?
With puppets, yes, but the suits, no. In our case, it was a collaboration. I had the most fantastic puppeteer in the world, in my estimation, a fellow by the name of Mac Wilson. He was controlling all of the facial features, the animatronic head. I was doing the body work. He was doing the face. Yeah. And then, of course, later on, the voice of Robbie Rist was added. So it was a collaboration of three of us. We became so tight, and this was true for all of the pairings, all of the turtle pairings, that we could anticipate each other. And even though we talked about everything as much as we could and talked it through before we did it, I would say a good third of what we did happened spontaneously as far as our performance. Now, it was, of course, driven by the script and what had to happen during the scene, but the way we got there was a unique experience between the two people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially with yours, because yours is such a comedic aspect of the Turtles. There's comedic timing that goes on with Michelangelo so much that like I'm not sure you get that with a Ralph or any of the other like Turtles. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It seems like way harder to do.
You're absolutely right, and that was another thing why I was so blessed to have Mac, because he had a great comic timing too. So we got together really well. We were very simpatico.
That kind of leads up really well to my next show is how, a lot of the work you do balances humor with darker elements and some more grounded feelings. How do you find the balance when performing those layers through costumes?
Well, the challenge is, as I said earlier, to get your performance out because it's limited by the suit. Every suit has its own unique limitations, but you're always limited in some way. I had a lot of training prior to that and experience as a mime. I was part of a troupe that did a lot of mime work. In that, we did mask work as well. So I was applying techniques of mime and techniques of mask work that I was already familiar with, into this performance. And it turned out that those were the exact tools I needed for dealing with a suit and getting a performance out of a suit.
Awesome. Do you find that your time in theater has kind of helped you be able to do that and like you be able to use your body to tell a story even more than just your face?
Absolutely. Yeah, because I had come up to a large extent in the musical theater. You had to be a little bit broader in the musical theater when you're on stage than you are if you're doing a drama or even a comedy, a book show. So yeah, I had skills that I had developed in the theater that were useful to me, essential to me, really, working with the suits. I just had to find out how to translate it because it was more extreme in a suit than it was as an actor on stage.
What do you find is like a common misconception that people have about performing in costumes and suits, as well as in puppeteering? Because I imagine there's probably many.
The basic one is that anybody can do it. That's not true. Not anybody can do it. That's the thing that you hear the most. Otherwise, I would think that people who understand what's happening and what you're going through to get this performance, they're much more aware, and they never say something like that to you because they know you have to have a particular set of skills to make this work and work properly. But yeah, that would be the basic question that you hear the most is that, oh, can anybody do that? Now, sometimes producers feel that way, and that's a problem.
Yeah, for sure. That leads into kind of a thought is what puppeteering is such an interesting field. How does one go about it, just getting into it? Like if I wanted you today, be like, I really think I could be a good puppeteer. Like, how does someone go about getting even into the industry? It's so interesting to me.
Well, if you're blessed like me, you get a chance to
just go right
for on-the-job training, but that's unique. Yeah. Actually, I'm glad you raised that, Justin. Henson's is toying with the idea. I think they're actually going to do it of reinstating classes to train people up. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, I heard tell that Brian was thinking of doing it, and another wonderful puppeteer, Alan Troutman, has some education background, and I think they're going to collaborate on creating a syllabus, and that the Jim Henson Company will be holding some open classes.
Oh, that's incredible.
That would be an excellent way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you have the bug and you want to be a puppeteer, just keep working at it. Do it as home. Get a video camera and a monitor so that you can learn monitor techniques, because that's a specific technique as well. And just keep doing it. Develop character voices. Get comfortable with it. And then when you have an opportunity, like something like this class situation upcoming, then show your stuff. You might have a chance and you might get in. They're looking for young people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, and who better to learn it from?
Exactly. Now, other than that, again, different situations might present themselves in different parts of the country. But as long as you're working at it at home and getting comfortable with the idea of it and the techniques, you'll be prepared when that opportunity arises.
Which is more demanding, the physical exhaustion of like the suit work, or the precision and the, I'm assuming, muscle it takes with puppeteering?
Yeah. Again, they have their own challenges, unique challenges. It's hard to keep your hand up a long time. We've discovered that every time we do it. So you have to develop muscles in your arm and shoulders and back, of course, and even into your lower body as well. That's the key. You have to have a good solid base, because you're always leaning over with your hand up. As far as the suits are concerned, you have to be able to deal with, shall we say, being in hell physically, because it's so hard that you're constantly second guessing yourself when you're inside of a suit. You're saying, why am I doing this to myself? Well, because I love it. Do I love it really? Yeah, you do love it. Nah, I'm not sure. So this conversation goes on the whole time.
I love that. Which do you have a favorite character of yours that you have played?
Oh, again,
That's like asking who your favorite child is.
Yeah, that applies. For different reasons. Yeah. Well, Mikey, of course, started it all. So Mikey has a very warm spot in my heart too. But I've enjoyed every single character that I've had a chance to do, but both in a suit and with a puppet. Yeah, it's tough to pick just one, but because it started the whole progress, I would say Mikey.
I'm not going to let you not talk about being a mime, though, because that's you mentioned how often were you in a box, my friend? How often were we
in a box all my life? The thing with the mime training, I was with a company up in Western New York before I moved down to New York City, called the Now Theater Repertory, and it was a company that did. We created original shows for children. That was our bread and butter. And they were very, very physically slanted shows. Obviously, being for children, you have to have more stuff, more movement, more things going on. So that's where I just started to develop physical side of my performances. And as part of that, we applied mime techniques to a lot of the stuff we did. So that's where my mime training came in, and the mask stuff as well. That's how that happened. I didn't perform as a street mime, although I was tempted a few times.
I want you to.
But I did have the wonderful, wonderful opportunity at one point, myself and a friend of mine from University of Buffalo, the theater department, we were there together, Tom Martirosian, and my lady at the time, Sally. We created a company called Orchidistra, ORKIDSTRA, and we performed mime pieces in front of philharmonic orchestras, symphony orchestras. We started with the William Tell overtures, so where you had a villain, the hero, me, and my girlfriend, who was the heroine, and the damsel in distress, that kind of thing. So we did that as a sideline, all all of the years that I was still in Western New York. And then when I moved down to New York, Tom had already moved down to New York too. So we continued to the orchestra then for about another decade or so, and brought other people in because we couldn't do all of the dates that we had booked. So we had, I think, we had enough people for 3 separate companies, so we could put out for double dates and things like that. But yeah, that continued on as a sideline just because we had started kind of as a lark with the William Tell Overture back in Buffalo.
Yeah. So not only were you a mime, you were too successful as a mime.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It eventually came down to, do we want to continue doing this as a sideline, or do we want to concentrate on what's happening over here? So it had to go away after that.
That sounds really cool, though.
Yeah, it was fun and unique for the orchestras too. They're always looking for things for concerts, especially for concerts for young people.
Do you have any skills you learned while puppeteering that have kind of stayed with you the longest through your career?
The puppeteering techniques, yeah, that's skills that I learned and developed doing it. Actually, it's more in reverse. I applied some of my previous experience and skills besides the mime and mask techniques. For example, one of the things that I've been very lucky and blessed to do is be the drumming hands for Animal. And that started in 2003. And I was a drummer. I was a musician before I became an actor and put myself through college as a musician. So one of the things I played was drums. And at one point, Bill Beretta, I'm sure you know who he is, he had this idea. Kermit was co-hosting the Jimmy Kimmel show for a week in 2003. And the first night, Animal was going to be sitting in with Jimmy Kimmel's band. And he asked me if I would come and be the drumming hands while he was hand up in Animal. And that's how it started. We did that. He said, "Oh, I like that. You should do more of that." And I said, "Okay, I will do this, but I have one request. I want to make him a better drummer. So I get to do all the crazy stuff at the crazy moments, but when it comes to actually playing the songs, since I have been doing it, I play the songs just as I would as a musician." So when we're set up, Eric Jacobs is hand up in Animal. So he's behind me and I'm in front of him, and I have my sticks on rods, about 2.5 foot tall rods, and I'm playing the drums up here. So that's what I do, and I have my music right in front of me here. I chart out the music that we're playing because I need to, and that's what I do. I read my music while I'm playing the drums up here. So I made him a better drummer.
I love it.
To play off of that, does that mess with your normal drumming? If you were like, at this point, you're like, your rhythm is off because you're like flowing through sticks rather than like your wrists. Yeah, I don't know.
It makes regular drumming a lot easier.
Oh, okay, fair.
I imagine so.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to sit down on the set and just play as a human being.
I imagine. How do you help build the trust with the other people you work with when you have a character that does require, multiple people to be involved for the one character? Like, what are your trust building? How do you build that relationship, that chemistry?
You assume that the other person is going to be right there with you, and inevitably they are. You develop trust by doing it, by being successful doing it, by seeing the results of what you're trying to do, finding the things that don't work and losing those, and keeping the things that do work and keep adding to that pile. And then you build up the trust by doing that.
Doing the work.
Plus, I would say most of the people I've come in contact with doing this have been really top-notch performers. So yeah, there's built-in trust to begin with.
Is it safe to assume the Muppets and the puppeteers around it have been a pretty stable cast for a long time? I have to assume that's like the very top of that industry. I have to assume. Absolutely.
The core people have been involved, of course, since Jim. So they have been around. There's fewer of them now than the original core, but the core has maintained itself so that when we lose one another individual is elevated into that position. That's how the core people who are doing all of the characters these days got their roles. The one exception, of course, is Dave Goltz, who has been there from the very beginning. God bless him. So yeah, that's how it happens. I mean, different circumstances have caused changes in the casting, as you know, over the years, and each time another person has stepped into the breach, and that person has then assumed those roles. And for what I can see, they've been excellent substitutes, even down to the core that's working today.
Speaking of today and Muppets coming back, are you involved in the Muppets still?
Yes, I am. We shot the pilot. I was a part of that, and I basically what happened for me was that when the pandemic hit and everything that we had lined up had fallen through at that point. Once the work started happening again, when people would call, I would say, you know what, it's time for somebody younger to have the opportunities that I've had, so please do that. The only people that I say yes to without question is Muppets. So when they call, I say yes. Anyone else has called in the ensuing years, that's what I say, is please give it to a younger person.
That's awesome. That's
I
sweet.
love that.
Yeah, it's time to pass the baton.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I do want to go back to Turtles because I loved your scene when you were the pizza delivery man and they were negotiating the price of a pizza and it being late. Can you tell me anything about that scene, man? That was so much fun for me. A kid to an adult.
It was fun.
It's so fun. It
was fun for me too. I mean, first of all, I got to ride the moped, which was just a ton of fun. I ran it all over the set, the back lot. The other thing was, and I like to say, is that I delivered pizza to myself and then stiffed myself on the bill. So that was a unique experience. But to add to that now, something totally unique has just happened this week. Sega Arts, the company that put out the theatrical release of the first movie last year for the 35th anniversary, they're doing the same thing for the Secret of the Ooze this year. And they called me up a couple weeks ago and said, oh, we're going to make this little featurette. They had gone and interviewed Kevin Eastman. And while they were interviewing Kevin, he was making drawings. And what he was drawing was a new turtle character named Spectre. They wanted me to be a part of the featurette that they're going to make. So what they did was they said to Kevin, can we make a live action representation of your drawings here, these new drawings? And he said, yes. So they had been filming this week the featurette that will be the pre-show reel, just like they did last year. There'll be a reel that plays before the movie. And in it, this new turtle, who shall be nameless at this moment, he comes in contact with some Foot Clan, and some sort of things ensue. And during that confrontation, or as it's about to happen, Tony the Pizza Guy shows up again.
No, awesome.
So
awesome.
They had me reprise my role of Tony the Pizza Delivery Guy. So I'm there.
That's fantastic.
I'm so happy for you and for me. That's so good. I love it.
So the pizza guy lives on.
That's awesome.
Love that.
Good.
Is Turtles something that you'd like to, keep doing? Is it something that you would, play again?
Well, I mean, they're not going to ask me to play it again, but I would love to. I do get to, there is a longevity for me because a few years back, I finally relented and agreed to start going to the conventions where they invited us. And the reason I didn't want to do it initially was coming from the theater, I never wanted to sell my autograph. In the theater, when somebody asks you for an autograph, you sign the autograph, boom. But my friends who have this company called Coldwater Productions, they kept at me saying, finally, they said, it's not about you, it's about the people who want to meet you. So I said I would go. I went to a show, and my goodness, it was such a wonderful thing. What's the experience and the stories that the fans would come and tell you what you meant to them when they were going through a rough patch as a young person. It just makes my heart sing. So I have been going back and doing other conventions because of that. So that's been the longevity of Turtles for me. As far as performing again, climbing into a suit again, I would do it under certain circumstances. I would do it.
I did want to bring up the con because I was at the Galaxy Con in Columbus, Ohio, and you were there, I believe, and a handful of other Turtles. And I was going to say, you and those folks seemed like a tight-knit crew. It felt like a genuine, like, just, I don't know. It was, I don't want to say family because that seems very intimate, but like, family. You know what I mean? It just felt, maybe brother.
You are absolutely. You are absolutely right. We are brothers to this day. We finally had the opportunity for all four of us to be together in the year before. It was supposed to happen last year, but that fell through at the end. But hopefully we'll do it again. But yeah, we have remained friends. In fact, Leaf and I, of course, we worked for years together after the Turtles with dinosaurs, and then he was involved with some other stuff as well before he went off to Atlanta. Josh and I, we're still friends. So whenever we have a chance to contact one another, we just have an update, see what's going on. And when we can get together physically at a convention, it's even better. So yeah, we still are brothers.
I mean, with the conventions and, you talk about meeting fans and, them getting to tell you what your characters meant. And do you have like a best experience you've had with a fan so far, like one that's really meaningful and stuck with you?
Well, there have been many, too many to list here, but I mean, there have been a dozen times where I've had to step around from where I'm standing behind the table and give a hug, and just, sometimes tears flow. That's okay, because it's a privilege for me. It's a privilege to have people be that open.
And you have the generations who grew up watching you, and you really were their childhoods, and some of those have children and all now, and they're showing their children, and so you get a whole new generation of fans. Have you got to meet some of like younger fans that like you're like, you weren't even born when it came out?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, that's one of my favorite things is when a fan comes up with their child and says, I introduced her or him to you at home and they love you too, and I love you. So that's a special occasion, especially. That happens at least once in every show that I've gone to. Yeah. It's a wonderful experience. It's cool.
I mean, I still quote the movie. Yeah, I still quote the movie almost every week. I say pork rind. I just say that to myself almost.
we make a lot of pizza jokes. My kids are obsessed with pizza, so it's always something about pizza.
Good on you. Keep it going.
And they do. They watch Ninja Turtles. They watch Muppets. We had them begging for Muppets Christmas back like early November, and they're like, Muppets Christmas. And we're like, can we at least wait till December? And they're like, no.
I respect it.
They love
Muppets
it.
Christmas Carol is good any time of the year. Yeah?
Any time of year. If you're our kids, it's Muppets any day. And they love Dinosaur. We introduced both of our children to Dinosaur, and they loved it. They quote those. They quote that show often. Both of them all the time would say "not the mama" anytime my husband tried to do something, and it was just funny.
They don't hit you with a pan, though, right?
No, they don't hit anyone with a pan.
No,
we keep those out of reach.
They gotta commit more. I need them to commit more. I'm gonna send the pan over to your house. But I do want to talk
to the little geeks.
Yeah, please. But you were part of another massive franchise in Star Trek. Can you tell me at all about working in the Trekkie world?
Yeah, that came out of left field. I did not expect that. I got a call. Oh, I forget who it was that called me initially, but I got a call to be a Ferengi. And I had been a fan, of course, of Star Trek and Star Wars, but particularly Star Trek. And so I said, "Oh, cool! That's something I've not done. Let's do that." So when I went in to shoot my my sequences, I forget his name, the head designer of the makeups, of the specialty makeups. I want to say Howard something, but I may be wrong about that. Anyway, he was handling me. He was doing my makeup, and he said, because you have dialogue, you get uppers and lowers. When you do a Ferengi, when you did a Ferengi, if you didn't have dialogue, they would just give you the upper teeth. Take that. But if you had dialogue, you had to have both. So he gave me the uppers and lowers, 2-hour makeup, getting into that Ferengi makeup. And then when we got out to start rehearsals on set, I started delivering my lines. And after a couple of minutes, they said, the assistant director said, hold on a second, hold on. And the teeth were so sharp that they had poked holes in my lips, so I was bleeding.
God.
So the head guy came out and said, I'll take care of that. And he said, give me those. And he takes them out of my mouth. He had a little file, and he went, chicka, 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 chicka. Yeah, that should be good. Pop them back in my mouth, and it was fine. So yeah, I suffered for being a Ferengi, but it was a lot of fun. I had a scene with Patrick Stewart. It was thrilling. And the guy who played my Ferengi captain, who I take over the ship from, Lee, we had been friends for many years and done a couple of other things before, so it was like old home week too. It was new and old at the same time.
Is it fun to kind of get to step on a set that you are a fan of, like, and then to get to be part of that world when you've been a fan of it?
Oh, definitely. In fact, because it was the last season, and my episode Bloodlines was towards the end of the season, I was kind of looking around saying, what could I take? What memento could I walk away with? But of course I did not.
Picked up the teeth. They drew your blood.
Yeah.
I still have the teeth. I did.
There you go.
Okay.
Who else would want them?
You never know.
That's true.
Yeah, no, I always think it's cool when actors are big fans of things and then they get to be part of those, and so they kind of get to have their little fan moment and enjoy it, because I mean that's what it's all about at the end. It's all the things we enjoy.
Exactly, and of course I had that with Muppets years ago when I was still in New York. There was a conversation I had with some of my friends at one point, some of my Broadway friends, and I said, we were watching the Muppet Show, the original Muppet Show, and we would talk about it because it was so much fun. And I often said, many times, boy, it would be fun to work with those people. They look like they're having fun every time that they do their stuff. And lo and behold, 20 years later, I got the chance.
That's so cool. Yeah, I always joked that if I ever got into acting, getting to do a Muppets movie would be like, that would be my how I know I made it.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be more. You'll have a chance.
It's coming back. That's, that gives me hope. I mean, I should start acting, but
one
that would
hurdle
help.
at a time.
Yeah,
Let's bring them up at
some
the
of
back.
that.
yeah, I mean, it would help. Can't really be in a Muppets movie if I'm not acting already, But hey, maybe I'll help on set. Something. At least I'm there.
It's a great place to be. A Muppet set is a great place to be.
I can imagine.
Sure. Speaking of like a fun set, I just have to assume Men in Black 2 was a fun set. Am I a fun just environment? I have to assume. Is that a safe assumption?
You are correct. You are correct in your assumption. It was a fun set. And Will kept coming up with things. For example, one of the things that I puppeteered was the Balchinian's balls.
No way.
It's
no way.
It's not on the resume, but yeah.
That's awesome.
They were radio controlled balls, and I was off camera, of course, with my little radio controller. But yeah, he came up with the name Balchinian. Barry was asking. We were shooting the scene, and he was asking, "What do you want to call him?" And he threw out about 4 or 5 different things, and then he said, "And Balchinian. And Barry goes, yes, that's it. Balchinian will be a Balchinian. That's how that came about. So yeah, it was a very fun set. Working with the worm guys was a lot of fun. There was a lot of working blue that never got on camera, of course, with the worm guys.
I imagine in a film like that. Is there
Balchinian? What a thing.
Is there a character or a franchise or anything like that that you haven't worked in that you're like, that would be something that you would love to still join?
Yeah, there's many. I mean, many of the things that I'm watching now, of course, I go, gee, it'd be fun to be on that show. At this point, because I have decided to move on and let the younger folks move in, there's less of a desire to do that. I don't have the drive to do that like I had all my careers.
Yeah.
But yeah, there would be things that if somebody called up and said, we'd like you to do this. Well, I'm doing it now. For example, the things with the pizza delivery guy. There are some things that I will say yes to, other than Muppets.
Muppets is forever, and there's a few little sprinkles of other things that'll still be yeses.
Yeah,
I love that.
That sums it up beautifully.
I love it.
It's a good bumper sticker. Muppets are forever.
I would totally put a Muppets are forever sticker on my car. I may make one. I will email the Henson.
You could sell a bunch of those, I bet.
Yeah,
I think so too.
let's email legal and make sure we're good to do that, and then we'll do it. I don't want to be in any trouble with Jim Henson. I respect him too much.
That's very true. Very good of you.
No, we'll say Michelan did it.
That was okay. No, we won't throw you under the bus.
Thank you.
It has been an absolute pleasure getting to talk to you, an honor. Thank you so much for coming on and talking with us.
Oh, this has been fun. I thank you.
Oh, of course. Where can people find you, and like website, social media people can follow?
I don't do a lot of that, but hopefully, if they do decide to, they just aired the pilot that we did for the Muppet Show. Yes. If they do decide to pick it up, you'll see me around there because I will be participating.
Perfect.
Awesome.
That sounds great.
You mentioned sorry, Destiny, but you mentioned you like to go into conventions. Is there a schedule that people can follow for that at least?
Yeah. At the moment, I'm doing one beginning of March in Chicago. Okay. I'm going this Saturday. This came up at the last minute to Santa Ana. There's a show down there that they're screening the first movie, and I'm going to be there to answer questions and stuff like that. Otherwise, I have to check with my friends over at Coldwater Productions because they're the people who book me for those things.
Thank you again so much. It has been an absolute pleasure. And guys, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and we look forward to our next conversation.